Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Would you love to deepen your spiritual connection and create a conscious shift in your life? Do you seek answer to human experience? Well, welcome to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. It's a 2.5-hour safe haven for your questions and Spirit's answers. And you can transform your life right now on VCMG in South Florida. Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor, coach, and medium who can assist you to connect the light within and transcend beyond the limits of all possible experience and knowledge. For the next 2.5 hours, listen and call in toll-free 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247. And watch Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube and share love and light.
The world is changing now, and we don't know where to go. The world is different now, and people have lost their way. It's just not easy to be who we want to be, 'cause the world is changing now. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart, the ways that worked before, they don't work anymore. We have lost our love for everyone. We have hurt each other. The world is changing now. It's asking us to move along, to open up a different way of loving one another. We can't stay the same. We've lost the game of life. We can't run away anymore. The world is changing now. We need to heed the warning. The world is calling you to rise above where you've been. The world is changing now. What we did before doesn't work. It's time for you. It's time for me to change. The world is changing now. Won't you change and open your heart? Open your heart right here on the Oldies Station at 866-972-7247. We're answering your questions. And tonight, we're exploring that contract, that agreement you made before you came here to join the experience of this human planet. What are the choices that we've made? And how have the choices that we've made every day brought us the people who we were meant to connect with because there's a contract in place? You see, everybody in our life is a part of our life for a reason. There are times when we feel our conflicts with people are difficult, challenging, that they put us to the test, that they hurt us. But that's not really the story. The backstory is that it's meant to assist you on your path of growth. It's meant to challenge you, to help you understand who you are and why you're here, to help you heal aspects of your life in another lifetime, to heal your family generations, the lineage, to break the patterns of behavior, to help your heart learn to love, and for your human experience to trust. And it's always connected to God. You're never alone. There's always a power, a force, orchestrating everything that's happening around you. Yes, you make a choice. You decide you want to marry a particular individual. And then somewhere in that marriage, you realize, well, it wasn't a good idea. Wasn't really the best choice. What do? You find a way to exit the relationship. But in the process of exiting the relationship, you have conflicts, it gets heated. It turns out to be that darkest period of time, that toughest time in your life. Maybe financially you struggle. Maybe emotionally you are devastated and hurt because of what transpired between the two of you, or how you were betrayed, not honored, not respected. Maybe family turned against you. And there you are, feeling like you're all by yourself. There's something to learn in that experience. There's something for you to glean from every tear. No tear is shed that doesn't have a moment of joy that can be found in a latter part of life that will be the result of that tear. Your tears are the expression of disappointment and sorrow, grief, hardship, frustration, anger. Our tears are simply a bodily release, triggered by an emotion that is often rooted in conditioned ways of being, patterns of behavior from our parents, insecurities that are stronger than we realize, even though we attempt to overcome our inner turmoil. But if we don't do the healing, those tears will be shed. And they will lead us to a clearing so that we can have joy, so that we can eventually have peace. But when we're going through that struggle, that breakup, that financial challenge, that conflict, that betrayal, that disagreement with a family member, or that trial and tribulation at a workplace, maybe some horrible trauma. It's all part of the evolution of your soul. And a writing of some of the wrongs that not just have been done to you, but perhaps that you participated in another time, in another place, in another life. You see, you have a power inside of you that can transcend every mistake you've made. But often we turn a blind eye to some of our own mistakes. We have difficulty being accountable for who we are. Saying, yes, you're right, I'm wrong, this is what I did. And I apologize. And then it's more than just apologizing. It's really making the change. It's making the shift. It's seeing things differently. It's being the better human than you were before. Sometimes people can't change as much as they need to because they're not ready. Or they're truly, totally unaware of all the patterns that they've experienced in life that have formed them to be a certain way that has become such a way of being, they don't even realize what they're doing. It's part of their survival. So your experience in this world is to heal a lot of those survival moments, those fight or flight experiences. Your experience here is to heal past mistakes of other lifetimes that you do not even remember. But the soul holds the imprint of the experience, and the soul holds the imprint of the pain that you've suffered and the pain that you've caused. And so we have to come to a balance, a righting of the wrongs, a sense of divinity. You see, our human mistakes that we view as terrible, wrong, unjust, unfair, are not always viewed with the same harshness from God. Because God understands the reason why the soul is the way it is. The soul knows the journey, who it is and who it's come to be. And God is the author and is part of the storyline of that experience. And if God is acting through you, then it's not God that's causing your behavior, but it's God that's helping you adjust your behavior, causing you to see through a different lens, and making you aware of the pain that you may cause to another, so you could see their pain, feel their pain, and become that better human. And when you experience pain through the action, the words of another, well, it does hurt. We can't tell you to act like it's not happening, because we've all experienced that disappointment. We've all experienced that pain. We know what it feels like to just really feel like our whole world has crashed down around us. We know what that feeling is like. It's happened to all of us at one time in some way. And when we're going through it, it is often difficult, challenging to find compassion for the other. But then once the pain is gone, once we've stepped back, we then have the opportunity to look at that experience through a different lens. And not that we condone their behavior, but it also gives us this ability to look at their life and perhaps for just one moment put ourselves in their shoes. And even though what they had done is wrong for you, maybe understand what caused them to be that way. It's all part of the forgiveness, right? But there's also wisdom to be had. The wisdom to be had is that if it's happening to you, Somehow you're a part of it. There's no escaping that. That soul contract is that you had to experience that difficulty, that challenge, that pain, that sorrow, that grief. You had to experience it for a reason. So once we get over the hurt of it all, the boo-hoo of it all, the why did this happen to me, this is so unfair of it all, the human rationalization of it all, once we get past all of that, we've got to ask ourselves, what is my part in this story, and who inside of me attracted this? And what could I learn from this? And maybe, just maybe, when have I behaved the way that this person just behaved to me? Maybe not in such a dramatic way, maybe not in such a hurtful way, but when have I behaved that way? And what must it felt like to the other person who received my wrong move, my hurtful words, my challenging behavior? What was that like? What can I learn? See, when we get out of ourself, out of our personality, out of our need to be right, our very overused word these days, ego, and we step back and we say, what would God do? I often hear that song in my head. What if God were one of us? Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. Just like you. But God is one of us. Why is that? Because God is in each one of us. Even when we're misbehaving, even when we're being crazy humans, God's a part of us. Saying, that's it. We're on our path to making improvements. Because once you get yourself in this mess, you're going to learn. Because God knows that we can only knock ourselves down so many times before we do get it in our heads. As humans, we can be a little dense, but eventually we get it in our heads, and we have this fabulous way of recognizing we don't want to do that again. Even for the most stubborn of us, eventually we get it. And we make adjustments. Did you know that the way your contract is with your parents determines how your personal love life goes? Did you know that? Oh, good Lord. Take a good look at where you came from. And you learned relationship skills from your parents. And they learned it from their parents, and their parents learned it from their parents, and so on and so on. But as you look at the patterns of behavior in our family lineage, we begin to understand the characteristics that have been passed through. It's not just all DNA and who's got blue eyes, who's got brown eyes, who's got blonde hair, who's got brown hair, who's tall, who's short. Those are all part of it, but those are the physical characteristics. But it's the emotional characteristics that are passed down through generations. For centuries. Centuries. And if you're on this planet now, let me begin by telling you that your soul contract in this lifetime was a big one. You signed this big contract. You probably didn't read all the fine print, and you signed up for this. Well, marvelous time we're having, isn't it? But you signed up for this contract because you were ready to make great strides. You were ready to break some of these patterns of behavior. You're ready to heal yourself. You're ready to transform. You're ready to be the warrior, the protector, the truth sayer, the truth seeker, the way shower. You are ready. You're ready to blaze a trail, even if it's just for your own little family. You're ready. You're ready to break your own patterns, to heal your mistakes of other lifetimes. Anyone who has chosen to be reincarnated at this time, particularly in the times of 1990 on, they really signed up for a big contract. And those of you who signed up from 1950 on, you are the pivotal piece that shifts the story completely. You are the bridge that bridges the generations before to this new generation and their patterns of behavior. And the world is changing. But we've got to all dig down deep and listen inside to what our soul is telling us, to what our spirit, our heart, our inner GPS is telling us to do. We've got to learn that energy. We've got to trust that, not the outside chatter, not the opinion of others telling us, well, this is what you should do in this situation. Their should, their could, is based on their past experiences and their soul's journey, and their soul journey is not your journey. If someone tells you how to mathematically solve a problem, and we know there are many ways to do it, but if they show you one that's tried and true and it works, then yes, go ahead, do it that way. But if someone's telling you how you should behave or react, or whether someone in a relationship is not treating you right, if you don't have that answer, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. You should know what you deserve, know what you desire, and be open to what your soul's ready for you to have that's evolved, not more of the same. How many of you listening can say you've been caught in pattern of relationships that have not led you any further than maybe your first relationship? How many of you can say every certain amount of years, boom, there's a change in the relationship, and suddenly, next thing you know, you're not in a relationship anymore? What's that about? Well, there is a part to the story that in this lifetime, most of us who are incarnated at this exact moment, we have soul contracts with many people. And because we signed up for the big job, we're meant to right the path with many people, experience their wrongdoing to us, perhaps do wrong to someone else, or not complete a contract in this lifetime, whatever the storyline is, because every story is unique. We're each meant to have what appears to be many people in our lives, where if we go back 2-3 generations, there was a consistency, there was a union, a tribe of people who gathered and stayed. They didn't venture far from their home. They were all just right there. But now in today's world, we are literally all over the world. And we have so many ways to connect. But what might be missing in all the different ways of connection? Maybe it's the heart. Maybe we've gotten away from our heart. Maybe this is the journey for humanity, once and for all, to listen to our heart and feel our heart and follow our heart. And not be so mesmerized by the glamour and the dazzle of everything out there in the world. How many shiny new toys can you get? How many new iPhones can you get? How many fancy things can you own? Big houses. Do they represent your soul, or do they represent a desire of your personality, which you are most certainly in this experience of lifetime able and blessed to have the ability to create abundant living. So no one's trying to strip you away from that. But what is tied into that? What's the backstory of the abundant life? What's the reason for being? We all have a powerful, powerful journey ahead of us. And every person in your life, your mother, your cousin, your father, your brother, your sister, Whether you're close or estranged, there's a reason, there's a purpose, there's a balancing. Every partner, every lover, every husband, every wife, they've been a part of your path for a reason. And sometimes when we look back, we romanticize what it was. When we really look, it was what it was and never meant to be more. So many times I see people romanticize what could have been, would have been, should have been with someone, and they go back only to repeat the pattern again. I see it with people in the workplace. They just go from workplace to workplace looking for a different dynamic, but maybe it's the type of work they're doing that creates that dynamic. Maybe it's something they need to learn, but they keep finding themselves in the same kind of hot mess that they were before. And then needing to move along or have a problem in a job. It becomes frustrating. Same with financial matters. What's your relationship with money? Do you believe that money flows to you with ease and grace and there's an abundant contract? Or are you still wrestling with some lack or inability to maintain and sustain yourself, or sabotaging yourself? Once you get there, bam, you're falling down. Why is that? There's so many questions we can ask of the soul. And I promise you, when you ask the really big questions, the universe is going to answer you. They're going to show you. And this lifetime is designed for you to ask the big questions. For you to step into the power of who you are and embrace the contract. Don't run from it. Embrace it. And know that, yes, everything's happening for a reason. And that no matter what you've been through, you can change the story. You can turn the page. You can burn the old book and write a new one. You've got the power. And you have an entire universe right beside you. Well, we're welcoming your conversation, your questions, right here on the Oldies Station, on Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. All across the nation, we answer your questions at 866-972-7247. We have a chat going on Facebook under Sarah Spiritual and on YouTube. And there, too, we're going to answer your questions. I can't wait to speak to you. So pick up the phone, join the conversation, ask your question, 866-972-7247. We're going to take a minute to hear from our sponsors. And then when we come back, we're going to come right back to you. So stay with us. You're listening to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, and that's me, Sarah Spiritual.
It's just not easy to be who we want to be. 'Cause the world is changing now. We can't walk the way we did. We don't know the path. We have to listen to our heart. The ways that worked before, they don't work anymore. We have lost.
Stay tuned for more Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, coming up right after the break. Continue the conversation with Sarah Spiritual on Facebook and YouTube. The phone lines are open too. 866-9-SARAHS. That's 866-972-7247.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WFLM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies Channel.
Sarah Spiritual is a gifted spiritual advisor and medium. She can connect you with your loved ones, your spirit guides, and ascended beings. Sarah specializes in love, relationships, money, career, health, and healing. She has an uncanny ability to convey the true thoughts and emotions of those around you. Just call 561-682-0956 for your personal reading. Life is a spiritual journey, and each situation has a spiritual solution. Just contact Sarah for a personal reading today. 561-682-0956. 561-682-0956. Or visit sarahspiritual.com. Or that number one more time, 561-682-0956. Let Sarah Spiritual and Spirit raise you up.
Hi, I'm Sarah Spiritual, the founder of the Expedito Enlightenment Center. I would love for you to visit me at my spiritual oasis located at 4047 Okeechobee Boulevard in the Tree of Life Plaza in West Palm Beach. Come, feel the energy, sample my spiritual sprays and oils, participate in one of my spiritual development classes, and have a personal reading with me, Sarah Spiritual. Let's see what Spirit has to say. You can call the Expedito Enlightenment Center at 561-682-0955. Not local? Visit me, Sarah Spiritual, at sarahspiritual.com for products, classes, and to book your personal session.
This show is furnished by Sarah Spiritual.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome back to the next 2 hours of Spiritually Speaking with Sarah, as we continue our uplifting and empowering spiritual discussions to transform your life. A gifted spiritual advisor, coach, and medium, Sarah Spiritual will assist you to connect to the light within and transcend beyond the limits of all experience and knowledge. We have another 2 hours to listen and call in 866-9-SARAHs. That's 866-972-7247. And watch Sarah Spiritual live on Facebook and YouTube, and you can share the love and light.
for everyone. We have hurt each other. The world is changing now. It's asking us to move along, to open up a different way of loving one another. We can't stay the same. We've lost the game of life. We can't run away anymore. The world is changing now. We need to heed the warning. The world is calling you to rise above where you've been. The world is changing now. What we did before doesn't work. It's time for you. It's time for me to change. The world is changing now. Won't you change and open your heart?
Open your heart right here on the Oldies Station. And we are answering your questions at 866-972-7247. We're talking about soul contracts. You got a contract. We signed the fine print, and now it's time to live that story. And so we're welcoming you in that conversation here tonight. Of course, answering your questions on anything you may have. We're really excited to make connections. We've got calls all across the nation. If you're on Facebook, please leave your comments and your questions in the feed. If you're on YouTube, give us your comments. Share the pages, share the love, share the light. We're going to go to the phone lines at 866-972-7247. I've got to go to Oregon. I've got Terry on the line. Terry, how are you tonight? Happy New Year, Terry. Are you with me, Terry?
Yes, I am.
Great, Terry. Good to have you here.
Thank
Terry,
you. Yes.
what is your question for us here tonight?
My question is, I want to know, I've been very worried about my friend Whitney, and I just want to know if she's on the earth or she is in spirit now.
And who are we asking about? Who's Whitney?
Whitney is my best friend's daughter who's been missing.
Well, I'm not getting confirmation that she's off the earth, so we're not saying that. But
Okay.
she's been missing for a while now, is that correct?
Yes, she's been missing over a year.
Okay. Missing or not wanting to be found?
I'm not sure.
That's
I'm
what
not
Spirit
sure. It could be
says.
either way.
Spirit says missing,
really?
or Spirit's like maybe not doesn't want to be found.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
But there's
Can
been
I ask another question?
Yes, but
Oh,
there was a
I'm
lot
sorry.
of difficulty in her life prior to her going missing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. My guides tell me she's challenged in this lifetime. She has to rise above her obstacles within herself. And this is something she was battling. Does that make sense to you? Knowing your friend's daughter?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it. Thank you.
So we're going
I
to pray
wanted
for
to know-
evidence.
oh.
All right? Yes.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to know if I'm going to stay where I'm at, because I got approved for my disability, thank goodness, or if I'm going to be moving out of state. I'm stressed out about that.
I'm not sure you're moving out of state. I'm not seeing that move right now.
Okay.
I feel that
Yay.
where you are in this moment, we are in a time where we're learning self-expression, we're learning to define what we want, we're learning a lot about ourselves, we're doing a lot of inner work. If you make a move, it feels like it's more of a 2026 type of move, because I don't feel that you have the true desire to move. I don't feel that you are aligned with a new location. I don't feel like anything's clicked for you. And I feel that you're comfortable enough where you are, and it's a place where you don't have to worry about new experiences, so that you can do some of the inner work and grow spiritually, and to also, Terry, work on your healing. And I'm not just talking
I've been
about
trying.
physical healing. We're
I
talking
know spiritual,
emotional
I know.
healing.
Yes.
My guides are like, oh my God, she's got a laundry list. She'll be there for a while. No, they're kidding. Really, they just can't, they just have to make a joke here. But they're like, there's so much that you're wanting to release. I feel if we discombobulate you and move you now, it's going to set you back in many ways, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Okay.
I agree. That's what my gut was telling me, but you had made confirmation. Thank you, Sarah, so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And I wanted to tell you, and Sunny says hi, and God bless you.
Thank you
My
so
cat.
much. I appreciate it. All
You're
right.
welcome, honey.
Bye for now.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yes, everyone, Happy New Year. Can you believe we are at the end of January? It went quickly, did it not? But we still get to say Happy New Year for a while, because the year is young and so much has happened. It's going to be an interesting year, I can promise you all that. 866-972-7247. We are answering your questions all across the nation. And please put your questions and comments on Facebook. I see some conversations popping up on Facebook. Oh my goodness, look at all the people here on Facebook. Are you on Facebook with me? I hope you join us on Sarah Spiritual Facebook, and pop on over to our Sarah Spiritual on YouTube. I see quite a lot of people here. Of course, I'm appreciative of people saying they're enjoying the show. We appreciate that. We're going to go back to our phone lines, and I have to go to Boca, and I've got Sandy on the line. Sandy, baby, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to
Happy
make
New
this
Year.
connection. Happy New Year. And how much can you grow? How much can you go? What can you learn? And what do you know? That's what my spirit guides got for you, honey. Because I want you to think big. I want you to take yourself out of what you think it's supposed to be and amp it up, as they say. Raise the vibration. Think differently on how you want things to play out in your life. I know that this is going to be a highly energetically conscious year for you. You're going to spend a lot more time connecting to the divine, because the divine's going to be prompting you. I feel like this is a big emotional, spiritual learning year for you. And it's going to open up possibilities of shifts and changes that bring forward new financial picture for you and increases finances. So that's sounding kind of good to me. What's your question?
Well, my question was, who's traveling towards me is my actual question. But I love it. I loved your whole, everything you said today.
So your question is, who is, what did you say, traveling?
Who, towards me. I feel like there's somebody traveling towards me, energetically speaking. I just don't know who, if it's, you know, towards the physical.
Well, interesting question. Many people traveling towards you. This is a year of expansion and growth. So there will be many that will come into your path to give you the opportunity to grow, to give you the opportunity to express yourself differently, and to form new relationships in your life. And it's looking for the areas that we want to have more interaction, that is something that brings you more joy and harmony. And as I was just talking to you, Spirit kind of paused me, and sometimes I'm mid-sentence and they come in with a whole nother sentence, and I'm like, way to talk over me, people. But they want you to know that anyone coming towards you is a product of your signal that you're sending out to the universe. So you'll know who's coming towards you when they come, because you're sending out a signal as to what you want. So they're saying to me, you're asking a question you already know the answer to. Does that make sense?
Okay. I just, you know, it's a little, yeah, somewhat, but it's just, you know, it's just interesting. It's, you know, the energy is very interesting this year as far as the shifting of energy, because those on the lower spectrum want to stay there, and those that want to evolve are trying to evolve. They are, and I think we're past the trying stage. We're either getting sucked up, or we're going to stay in the loop of the matrix for a while longer, depending on where people are wanting to be. And most of the work was done between 2012 and 2021. So that work is all done, right? So if people didn't wake up through 2020, then they're going to be, and it's most certainly not a universal punishment, they're just going to be in aspects of living that are more comfortable for them, right? Because that's where their soul is contracted to be. Not everybody is meant to jump around and be in the spiritual journey and feel every nuance and every frequency. Some people are here because they're holding space, and they're holding the energy, and they are the anchors of a lot of what has been traditional structures, that even though they're being broken down and shifted, these physical and emotional and spiritual structures, even though these systems are shifting, we still need someone to hold things together while everything begins to move. And that's why some people, it's not that they didn't get it, it's just their soul contractors. This is where they're comfortable, and this is what they agreed to. So everyone is going exactly where they need to be for this moment. But I hear in my head, something's coming, I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be great. So it's from West Side Story. I think you got good things coming for you, Miss Sandy. Keep keeping on, dig deep in your spiritual journey. A lot's going to come up for you to the surface. You're going to have a lot of rememberings, a lot of Neptunian moments, a lot of energy in your dream state, remembering things from past lives and this life. So it's going to be a busy time for you. So make the best of it, enjoy it, and expand and grow the best you can. That's what's meant to happen for you. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandy. We appreciate your listening. Bye for now. 866-972-7247. You're listening to Spiritually Speaking with Sarah. And pop those questions on Facebook, because I'm going to go to Facebook in just a couple of minutes. But before I go, I've got to go to Los Angeles. I have Amy on the line. Amy, how are you? Amy, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I hear you, Amy. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Amy, is this your first time calling, or have you called us before?
No, I've called before.
Okay. Now, Amy, I want you to know that the winds of change are upon you. And this is a time for you to make the shifts and the changes that closes the doors to things that don't serve you, that gives you the opportunity to open up to new possibilities. We need to be aware of this, because if we do not make the changes that we know we need to make, the universe may force its hand. This year could also prove to